Now with this spoon bending thing, was it an actual spoon or a fork from the store, or was he
Okay, so this is
actually?
what they told me. They said it was a fork from Denny's, and this is what I did. I didn't believe them. So what I did is I looked at the fork. It was fucking solid,
Yeah.
and I looked at the back of it. Had a manufacturer stamp on it. So I looked up the manufacturer as a real, utensil baking company.
Shit. So what'd you think
Okay,
and
so
feel in
the
that
thing I
moment?
got to yesterday, it was, and babe, do you remember when I said there's two different things people did it 2 different ways? They found their own way to do it.
I was watching that one, I think. I think I watched
Like
that.
creativity is so important.
Yeah.
So lately, I've been figuring a lot of things out, and I've been it's kind of like internally. And it's almost like when you're like about to have a thought, you know, kind of what it's going to be like, but you can't quite like form it yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so what it was, so we'll explain it. So on that show, there was 2 people that bent the spoon. One person did it. I forgot exactly how, like imagining like something, I don't know. I forgot how he did it. But then the girl, she imagined it as being like in its liquid state. And that's why I was able to bend. So they both used their own creativity to intuitively figure out how to bend their spoons.
Oh, I like the way you
Two
put
different
that.
ways they use their creativity. If you think about all these different things, there's no one way to do something when it comes to this mystic stuff. You got what intuitively feels right for you. There is no wrong way.
Whoa, that's
trippy. They say there is
trippy.
no wrong way.
That's
You do it intuitively.
trippy. There's multiple ways as long as you like believe it and tune in.
Yes, exactly. Tune in and yeah, I would say like be confident with it.
Wow, that's crazy. Because I watched that same one you're talking about, and I like the way you explained it, that they actually use their own creativity. I wasn't even thinking that.
Yeah, because everything I was watching yesterday, it kept pushing creativity. And I'm like, why is creativity so important? And then it just hit me all of a sudden. It was kind of like too, like, you know when you just kind of know something?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's been happening a lot to me. And the thing is, but then the self-doubt comes in. And then I keep thinking about Schrodinger's cat. And I actually had to look up how to say the word. You know, Schrodinger's cat?
Yes, that experiment.
Okay, so that's how I got started on YouTube. Okay, so I was talking about Schrodinger's cat because that cat keeps popping up all over the place. I cannot stop thinking about it.
Whoa, that's weird.
Yeah, so, the box,
Yeah, I just made a video about that.
It's time to take with both. Actually, this notebook, I had kept it. I started writing down stuff, so I've been having a really strong feeling to do the oracle cards and to meditate. But I wanted to ask like some really good questions.
Too. I'm gonna write that down.
But I was like, if it's superposition, so one of the questions I want to ask during meditation is to kind of explain superposition to me a little better. So I remember learning about it in school, and it confused me then.
Yeah, superposition.
But the type of physics they teach us in school, it's a certain type. I forgot exactly, I wrote down the name for it. So I was complaining to Tony because everything I wrote is in the same color pen, and I don't know what any of it says because I can't like differentiate. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes I'm like, okay, so I know I wrote that, but I know I wrote it in blue. You know what I mean?
Well, when you
everything's in pink, it all looks the same, and it's so uncomfortable.
That is funny, but when you gain your attention, you'll be able to stay focused on it regardless.
I think, yeah, that's a good point.
Which
want to
hear?
Like super freaking sloppy too, because I'm so excited.
Well, listen, I love that so much. I've been writing with a super bright pink pen lately. I've been called to, and then I got this book in the mail. Finally, I haven't got books in months. I got this one in the mail, and what is the first thing that somebody had written on there? Because it was a used book. It was in pink, bright pink.
Nice. That's what mine is, all in bright pink.
Freaking alignment right now, I'm telling you.
That's crazy too, because I've also been having I've been feeling the need to paint a lot lately.
That's so weird. I just painted the other day for the first time ever.
Really, I've been wanting to paint so bad lately.
What the hell?
And usually I don't feel like really called to paint. And I don't know, there's so many things I heard yesterday that just made so much sense when I heard them, write them down. But I remember it saying something about like creativity will like really help in like times of hardship.
Yes.
So the day before, I think I told you about, I was learning about the Transcendental Meditation, which I have never done that before. Do you know what it is?
Ooh, I've definitely
done. Like a 2 or 3 word like chant, so that means something meaningful to you, and it's just inside your head, I guess. Just repeat it silently.
Ooh, I like
that. Say it over and over and over again. But so what they did is they had 10,000, well, actually over 11,000 people get together at the world's biggest meditation center. I'm like, meditation center? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why do we have these everywhere?
I know, right?
Literally, it reduced crime. Like, it reduces crime, reduces fires, reduces all the bad, like, negative bad stuff. And in fact, it lasts for a little while. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, okay. So basically, it's 10,000. I'm talking about worldwide. I had worldwide global effects.
Wow.
When all these 10,000 people are over in India in that one place, it is affecting people across the world in calm, positive ways.
Gosh, I'm just envisioning creating one. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so I really want to do the Transcendental Meditation here on the property. I was thinking too, like, with learning all this, like, it's such a big undertaking. Like, yes. So the thing with the self-doubt too, that's what I said earlier. Retention goes where, I'm trying to remember this phrase. Like, just get it solid. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. No,
yes, that was it. Yep.
But
energy goes where
like, basically, I want to heal the family. You know what I'm saying? Heal the earth here, heal the family. You know what I'm saying? Oh, so we've already seen it work. We saw it in the hospital when you did that to me. I was so amped up, and I almost instantly started snoring. Remember?
I know, that was insane.
I was so calm. I felt so good. I felt it too. Like, I think warm or tingly or something. That. And then when I learned, and they talked about this a couple different times. The one that I learned is like a 2-minute YouTube video, and I have it saved. And I need to watch it again. Basically, what it is, if he tells you to do something first, but basically what it is, you put your hands palms facing each other a couple inches apart, and you pull them apart, put it again, pull them apart, put it again. You can feel.
Yes.
You know, if you focus on the space in between your hands, you feel the energy there, and you can move it around. You picture it getting stronger, and you put it over the area that hurts, and it'll stop hurting.
Yes.
That's kind of like the gist of it.
Yes.
So I had done it like 3 or 4 days in a row, and I'm talking, it was a huge difference. But I was like, this has got to be placebo effect. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So I really wanted to test it on someone that was having pain. So I kept asking, like, does your shoulder really hurt today? Because the shoulder usually hurts. And it didn't like really hurt that day. So I still could have done it, but I wanted like some like serious like bait. Like, I wanted like some proof, some evidence.
Yes, yes.
So the more you do that, like the more you're confident, the more you won't have the self-doubt. But yeah, I definitely want to work. So I was talking a lot of things. I'll talk out loud to get the answer, like the right answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I can think about it, but it just works better if I say it out loud for some reason.
No, for sure.
So I was trying to think like why I have this limiting self-doubt, and you hit it right on the head too. I just figured out right before you called. Our programming. We have been I wrote this down too, so one of my books.
Yep.
Our whole life, we have been programmed to be powerless. So if you think about it, I don't have so the numbers like 90, 95, and 70 are the percents. I'll tell you what those percents mean. So I'm not sure exactly which one goes to which. But all right, so if by the time, so from age up to 7, we are on record. We are not, our consciousness is not really there yet. Right? Yes. So they say. So we're on our record. We don't know how to live in a community, in a family. So what do? We observe. We observe our parents. We observe the community. We observe our siblings. So we are on record, just recording. So during this time of recording, until we're 7 years old, all we're doing is absorbing stuff. So we're absorbing. Let me see if I write it down. Get a little better idea what I'm trying to say.
No,
I
love
have
it.
the page open.
I'm listening. That's awesome.
That's fine. This page says ethering. The next page says think positive. Oh, right here. Okay. So 70% of our programming is disempowering, self-sabotage, and most of it is not ours. We have observed it. So 95% of the time, that's something different. So basically, it's something like 90% of our programming is not ours, and like 70% of that is not true.
Wow.
So that leaves us with like 5% or something that is ours and is true. And most of it is, I'm trying to make us powerless. And even
exactly.
The example I used yesterday, just the smallest things, like I can't remember the example I used yesterday, it was something so small, and I was like, and that's one example of something they do like everywhere. This is a different example, but so I remember in school, like this is in high school, I think, being like algebra, I think it's calculus, and someone had solved the problem, but not in the same steps the teacher said to use. They still solved it, still got the right answer. And the teacher told them, no, if you put that in the test, it'll be wrong.
Wow.
Because they solved it a different way. They used their creativity, they did it a different way. They probably did it a better way, honestly. I was supposed to say about the science. Okay, you get all my download out to you.
That's insane.
Is that so? There's different types of when we went through the history kind of science, how science and spirit like separated, and why, and it was to make the church happy, so the church didn't stomp out the science, and it's kind of just what Darwin. Okay, so I probably didn't. Who did it? But so he said there. He said there's energy and matter. Is what he said.
Awesome.
So he said we'll focus. Scientists, the natural philosophers, will focus on the matter aspect, and the church will take over the. Did I say maths? Yeah. church take over the energy aspect. So I kept the church happy.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's not matter and energy. And Einstein proved this with E equals mc squared, which is a conversion from energy to matter. So if you convert from energy to matter, you know what I'm saying? They're the same thing. Everything is energy. And I know like you would say that, but it's like hard to conceptualize.
Wow. Now that
and then it's hard to conceptualize. How am I here if I'm not solid, but I'm an energy field, and all, what you see is the reflection of the photons hitting me.
Ooh,
Then that made me
so
think a lot.
cool.
That made me really be able to visualize. That was some of the stuff I was having like hard time conceptualizing, like picturing.
You just needed to
But
get
that makes a lot of what that's in the hologram. So it was weird because like before I watched like 3 things on Guy and 3 things on YouTube, and they were all so interconnected. None of them were about the same topic really, but they all reinforce and complement each other in a way that I'm like it's so profound.
Wow, that
like
is
one part of me like I have so many thoughts I can't even keep them straight. The other one is like I'm just in awe.
Isn't that beautiful?
It really is. Here's another thing while I have the book open. So 95, I thought this was so interesting. 95% of the time, our conscious mind is thinking. So when our conscious mind is thinking, it is not observing what we're doing. We are put on autopilot. The autopilot is that like huge percent of programs that aren't even ours and aren't even true.
Exactly. That's why everything you see, everything you watch, everything you allow yourself to be around has a detrimental effect on your future reality.
Well, also, too, that's the point of being present. When you're present, your conscious mind is actually the one driving, not your subconscious, which is your programming.
Oh, I love that.
So, for example, like, all right, I was something to Tony. I was like, yeah, when this and this happened, like, it was like yesterday. You like didn't remember it. Like, we don't remember it. But if his conscious mind is thinking about something else, then his conscious mind never saw what I showed him.
Exactly. It never even
existed. So you see how people will be like, oh, I never did that. And the thing is, too, so it talked about Bill. So Bill, basically, that's what I just told you about the conscious mind. So Bill, blah, 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 his conscious mind's not seeing what he's doing. You know what I mean? And you're getting mad at Bill because blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then at the end of the story, it says, we are all Bill.
Oh, wow, yes.
We'll all do this. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow, that's so awesome. So then it said something like later on, and I just wrote down, we are Bill, or I am Bill, or something.
Bill.
That's my notes. But yeah, just, oh man.
Wow.
It's just everything is energy. And like, I understood the words before, but it's like, now I understand it. And when you can really, really understand it, that's when you can manipulate it.
That is so freaking awesome.
Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing.
Because you are, and it explains the fact that like you are energy, I am energy, and it explains how we're all the same thing and why. But I've heard different versions. Like I heard recently, like at the very beginning, everything was compressed into the size of a green pea, like everything in the universe, and then when it Big Bang, whatever, and then because all these things were once one thing, that's how the quantum entanglement works. When you take a little proton over here, the proton over there laughs, electron over there laughs.
Yes.
But,
I know what you say because I
need to watch that stuff again because like.
Me too.
And so I always say I need to watch it and I don't usually watch it again, but it's just.
I think that was literally the episode I saved it to my favorites before I even like watched it because I just knew.
That's awesome. I did that recently too because I'll put I'll hit watch later, and that means I've watched it and watch again later. So I can see what I've already watched. But just thinking about like all these things I knew a year ago when I first first started watching Guy again. Because I think the first time I started watching it is the first time I was on Cryptid, but I didn't watch a lot of it, just a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And then but things I just knew, like I'm trying to think of something. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I know them now. It's like I think when I was like, I've had a hard time. We all learned the hard way. So I had to go this whole huge, year of pain, year of this, year of that, all these like things that were challenging, challenging, just to know what I already knew.
Exactly.
And it's because of self-doubt. If I would have just followed my intuition in the first place, and I'm going to try to remember this because this is a reminder to follow your intuition. All these things I kind of felt, and the more you follow it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly.
I think too, like, is this really, like, how mom will say, like, oh, it's kind of like you're thinking about, you'll make it happen kind of thing.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not.
But that can be part of it too if you're thinking positive.
For sure. And I was also thinking this too, is that like, even if it's not the self-doubt, it's in those programs and the limiting beliefs, it's kind of like we needed to go through it because we're now going to be able to take on a life that has greater purpose, deeper meaning, more expanded consciousness, and further on.
Definitely. What you said just reminded me of the meditation, just the meditating in general, why it's so important. I haven't done it, really done it, in a while. I've had, a lot on my mind. It's been, I'm trying not to give, excuses anymore.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I'm really sorry I did that, but blah, 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 blah. Stuff like that. Not trying to, no, I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That kind of stuff, not trying to give, explanation for it. That's, an excuse kind of.
Yeah, you don't even need to excuse yourself for anything. You don't owe anything to anyone but yourself.
Yeah, well, even myself, I want to give an excuse to myself. I didn't clean my room because, a football game came on, or now some stupid, I don't know. No, I did because I didn't do it.
Yeah, exactly. You have to take.
Yeah,
you just.
I should have. I didn't. That.
Just take responsibility for everything you do, and I think a lot of that comes to remaining impeccable with your word. If you say you're going to do something, just do it, and then you just keep training yourself to do it over and over again, and that just becomes your new self.
Exactly. I still have the book that you gave me, honestly. I have it there, and I'll pull it down, and I'll have it next to me and start reading, but I'll be I'll just have, I don't know, it's been kind of rough lately, but I forget, too, because I'll be why am I so amped up and, anxious and this right now? It's because I just changed positions, and it was super painful.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? I just have so many thoughts.
Right.
So a lot of one thing that I knew. So I've been finding a lot of things recently through intuition, and then a little bit later, or the next day, or soon after I start thinking it, I will hear it somewhere. And part of it is your attention. Your attention goes. Your energy flows. Thinking out. So if I'm constantly focusing on, oh my God, my hip hurts. Is it going to get better? How do I make it better? Looking for all these outside things to make it better. It's not going to get better. Because the first time this happened, I didn't have a diagnosis. I know, you know what I mean? I was it's not going to stay this forever. It's going to get better. And it did.
Yep.
And this time I feel a lot harder because it's harder, but I'm focusing on how hard it is too. And I'm what is the lesson I need to learn? I think I texted you the other day too. I don't remember what it was, but I was walking and then I had a thought and I lost my balance. And when when I lose my balance, I'm not going to step back onto my left leg because it's going to hurt. But I stepped onto my left leg and then my right foot stomped. You know what I mean? And I was standing normal, and it was with the crutches. But it was just, I don't know. I guess it was a profound thought I had. I can't remember it right now.
Wow.
I was trying to drink coffee. I'm upset.
It's all divine though, and I get it. And these are things that sometimes you can't explain because they're meant for you and you only, and how sacred it is and how it will transform you.
Yes. I did text it to you. That's one thing too I saw. So I used to text you a lot of things as part of my log to remember it.
I love it.
I go back and scan through and read it. I've lost all of it after my phone reset. But all the other thing is too is so you usually have Netflix, Disney, that stuff on my phone. And I'm bored when Tony was gone during the day, I would spend the whole damn Gaia and trying to do good things for me. And then at night I'd watch a movie or two and go to sleep by 10ish. So yesterday he was in the living room with the tablet, so I had my phone in the room, and I was I really don't. I'm kind of information's out from the day before, too much Gaia. I don't know, but I ended up putting Gaia on instead of downloading Netflix or something.
I love that.
But I thought that was really good. I was let me keep my phone how it is with the least amount of apps on it.
That's awesome.
I don't want to even be tempted. You know what I mean? And I even heard something yesterday, if there's something you don't want to do, make it harder to get to. If there's something you want to do more, make it easier to get to.
Yes.
I was that's a great point.
I've changed things on my home screen app, putting social media on the second page instead.
Oh, nice. That's good.
And I don't even literally, Aaron, I haven't been on Netflix in probably 3 or 4 months now.
Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah, and I've only watched Gaia, and I watched one movie, and that was that Moana 2.
Oh, yeah, that was that was
so
on Disney?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was so good. Did you watch Mufasa?
Mufasa?
Yeah.
No.
What? Audrey.
Is it good?
Slacking. It was funny because at the very beginning it talks about so it's about Kiara, which is Simba's daughter. It's kind of about her in a way, but like the other ones, Rafiki and Puma and Simone, they're telling a story about her dad, like about grandpa, also. But it's funny because Puma and the other one, Simone, they're about to, I think, sing Hakuna Matata, and then they just make a joke, something about people not being able to, everyone saying it for 6 years or something like that. So I think maybe that's when the second Simba came out. I think 6 years after the original. But it was just like they made a lot of jokes that pertain to like the first original Lion King.
Oh, that's cool.
Which came out 30 years, I think it came out in 94, the year after you were born, I think. So I looked it up. Yeah, it came out, so 31 years ago.
Wow.
Wait, 20 years ago. How?
Yeah, 30.
I should zoom out.
I think 30-ish.
But I've been feeling so like scatterbrained the last 2 days. I still feel scatterbrained today. I almost feel like I don't know, like it's all kind of like starting to condense.
Yes.
You know, to more coherent thoughts.
Yes.
So I want to look up some stuff. But going in meditation, I learned a lot about it and the importance of it. And the Transcendental Meditation, it says to do it 20 minutes twice a day. But it's just about like introspection. You know, you have to have that. And we watched that movie yesterday with the chick from Legally Blonde when she does the hike on the Pacific Coast Trail. And if you listen to what she says at the very end of what she learned, it's based on a true story. It's a good movie, but at the very end, she was talking about stuff, and I was like, I was just learning this stuff on Gaia. And like, how did she come up with this on her own? I was like, because if you're walking that long by yourself, you've got to be in some sort of meditation.
Wow, you're right. With internalizing just the world around you, not distracted, just getting information from the ether, perhaps.
Exactly. And a lot of it, too, seems a little bit contradictory. Like, for example, they'll say, like,
I love that.
All right, so kind of like I call it both sides of the coin. So what if this is true? What if this is not true? You know what I mean? But is that putting your attention on what you don't want? I don't have a more solid example. Does that make sense, though?
Kind of like it's kind of like you're getting stuck on one result, maybe?
All right, so let's say, like, it'll be like, all right, so... all right. This doesn't even make sense. So I don't know if you'll really get. I have to get very like. I have to be careful with the examples I give Tony sometimes, just because like I'll take them very literally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for example, all right. So is the sky blue or is it pink? You know, or what if it's blue? What if it's not blue? You know what I mean? That's my section.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think.
I probably have it written down somewhere.
It's okay.
Actually, I don't. The one. All right. So say. So what I was so what I'm kind of referencing it to is kind of back goes to the self-doubt thing.
Yeah.
So what if this energy healing works, what if it doesn't work? But maybe it goes back to attachment. Because what if it works or it doesn't work, you're not attached to either result. So now you don't have resistance. Because energy is the path of least resistance.
Kind of like remaining neutral about any outcome.
Yeah, well, in a way. When I think about it, I'll try to text it to you, but it's...
Yeah, no.
If you're supposed to think about both outcomes, then wouldn't you be putting your attention on one, and what if it's a negative one, kind of?
Yeah.
I kind of journal your feelings a lot, like physical sensations, and all of a sudden I just got really nauseous. And that was weird. We were talking about self-doubt, and I got nauseous. And my body's like, don't do that.
I know, right? Let's not even talk about it. What's the good enlightening stuff? So
I know, but that's a sign.
It is a sign.
We don't have to have self-doubt. My body's already rejecting it.
Wow, look, it's already like, no, we don't have room for that shit anymore.
Exactly.
No, that's freaking awesome. So letting go of the attachment to the outcome, right? Pretty much.
That's, I think maybe that's the point. I think I got the beginning of it and that's the end of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it's also unwavering belief and knowing, instead of like you surrender, but it's because you have that knowing that everything's going to work out exactly how it's supposed to and to our liking, because our perception and how we actually look at something by quantum physics, it will change the actual, what actually appears by just us being conscious of it.
Exactly. It was saying too, like, if you're living like hell on earth right now, but you want heaven on earth, it was saying something that's like, oh, so in 24 hours I can have it. It's like, no, you can have it right this second. It already exists. You just choose not to see it.
Wow.
And then I think about my hip a lot too, is like, I'm choosing not to see it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So everything's like so fragmented right now. Like it needs to be put together. Like I don't know, my brain is all, it makes sense that it's not making, it makes sense that I'm having a little trouble absorbing it just because it's so much.
It is a
And
lot.
we're so programmed to not think it.
It
I just
is.
remember being a kid and just like, that's one of the reasons I like Disney movies because of all the singing, honestly. But now I put the subtitles on and I look at the lyrics while they're singing, and they're usually pretty profound.
Wow.
But the one thing I did like about Disney movies is all the magic in it. Like Cinderella, how the fairy god comes and changes her and all these like sparkles around her. You know what I mean? Put the dress on. And it was just, and talking to the animals, it was just like the magic of it.
Ooh.
But they beat it out of you. You know, like they beat out your creativity. They tell you that it doesn't exist. You know, get your head out of the clouds. You know.
Wow.
I think that's part of talking about it out loud. Just, I don't know.
I love it.
Work through it.
I love it, and I think that it's I think that sometimes our brain does need to rewire, and that means that it's doing exactly what we need it to. We don't have to overthink it. We don't have to be so harsh on ourselves. Give ourselves grace and love and understanding, and like literally put your freaking hand on your heart and just tell yourself how much you love you. Like say I love you, like to yourself. Say I love you, body. Like I love you. I love that I'm connected to the other end of the universe. Like thank you for bringing me here, you know?
Mm-hmm. You're so right. Some of the things you say are so spot on. And like I can say the words, but a lot of times they'll feel like false. Like I would say for like energy, everything's energy. Like that's what I'm told. That's what they say, and this and that. But it's about kind of hollow saying, you know what I mean?
For sure.
And now like these things actually they feel not so hollow anymore.
Yeah, it's making like a full circle because now all these dots are kind of connecting in and wiring in your brain and you're understanding. And on top of that, the universal wisdom is that it wants to see us win. So we are, as long as we tap into that frequency and get out of that matrix, that's how we can win. And that's how we find like the truth and just tap into that like God frequency, you could say.
Yes. And one thing was interesting, well, two things that are interesting. I just forgot one. Okay, so I forgot the main one, because the second one is so there's all these, what I was saying earlier about this difference between like basically church was, you know, spirit or energy, and then science was matter, and then they realized it's the same thing. Well, there's Copernicus. I think he anyway, so this guy, he had this type of, so quantum mechanics, quantum physics, it's an interpretation of like the equation of like the universe or something, but it's an interpretation. It's interpreted differently. So the one guy interpreted it a certain way. And all the other scientists, like that guy, he was like, the least people backed him, didn't follow his way, didn't believe his way was, you know, the right way of interpreting quantum stuff. And that's the way they teach in school. That's what I was taught about, and that's superposition part of that. The main things I remember from physics, I remember literally opening my book and looking at the pictures of superposition in the electron particle cloud, probability cloud. You know what I'm talking about? They say like electron. They used to say like in elementary or whatever. They'll tell you, you know, that the electron goes around in like a ring around the nucleus. But then when I got to college, like no, it's not in a ring around. It's in a probability cloud somewhere in this cloud. A probability is somewhere in. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so that's the probability cloud. But those are the two main things I remember from physics. That, and then opening it up to like a random page or turning pages or something where I was like not a section we were in, and I showed a picture of Nikola Tesla, and for some reason I just stopped and read about him, and that was those are like the main things I remember from physics.
I love that.
What Nikola Tesla was, and about of all things, superposition and probability, which are the things they keep mentioning.
That is amazing, and that's honestly quantum physics, and that in itself is one of my favorite subjects.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. I mean, I kind of remember. So it was always one of those truths kind of things that I just knew. So when I was in college, when I went into physics, because I never took physics in high school, I didn't really know what it was. I started doing physics for the first time. And like engineering, like I failed out of engineering like pretty soon after that because I wasn't. You need to know physics to do engineering, but I was just so interested in physics, so that was what really interested me. And I should have changed my major. Looking back on it now, but it was something that I just kind of knew, but I just didn't listen to my intuition.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like a thought or feeling, and it was like commitment to change. You know what I mean? Like I just thought it was commitment.
The fear.
All these like really strong feelings I had. Now I'm looking back, I'm like, that was my intuition telling me. The more you ignore it, the more it goes away.
Exactly.
And vice versa. So here's another attention energy ghost thing. I need to write it down because I can't get that right now. But so the story of Facebook I heard, it was like a grandma or something and a really little boy talking about so there's a good wolf and a bad wolf, and they get in a fight, and it's which one wins, and it's whichever one you feed. Do you feed the good wolf or do you feed the bad wolf?
Wait, what happened? It's breaking up a little.
So I always picture Luke and Sid with this one for the white and black. But so it's like it's a good wolf and a bad wolf. They get into a fight. Which one wins?
Oh.
It's whichever one you feed.
Oh.
So do you feed the good wolf, good positivity, or do you feed the bad wolf with negativity? Whichever one you feed is the one that's going to win. It's kind of another way of saying like where your attention goes, energy flows.
Yes, I like that. What are you feeding? Where are your thoughts? If you just become aware of your thoughts, you'll learn a lot about yourself. Start thinking about where are your thoughts going?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's one thing that Mom had pointed out a long time ago. She said that I was pretty self-aware, especially for my age. But I always thought, I don't know, I always just remember her saying that because I never realized it. And then I kind of started realizing it. Like, I did realize things about myself and my thoughts that I don't think most people really think about. And this was like less than 10 years before my Tony, though. But yeah, I thought that was interesting.
That is. That's really interesting.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. No.
And I get all that out of the way real quick.
No, I'm glad.
I was thinking about how you're doing.
Right, I'll tell you about what I'm doing because I was like, oh, it's just perfect timing because like what you sent me was right on point. Let me just go back so then I could remember what I needed to say because it excites me too. I forget when I talk to you. I'm like, wait, what did I even want to say? I'm just so interested, and now I'm just thinking about replaying everything Ernie just said to me.
Oh wow! I want to send this notebook to you. I looked in the back. It says 80 sheets yesterday. And it's just kind of a small notebook.
Yeah.
It says the size 5 inches by 7 inches. And I filled out almost entire thing. Maybe accurate. More than half of it yesterday. Just about half.
Oh wow! I love that.
Okay, so I just had an idea I want to tell you before you get started. Oh no, it was a good one. All right. So if I forget something, I always just say if it's important, come back to me.
Oh, perfect.
Because I heard someone say that, like if it's important, I'll come back. I forget what you're saying.
Exactly. All right. Did you remember? I'm just like...
No, I'll go off. Just kidding.
Okay. All right. So
the last page though, and it says we are so important. It says so imp. If you see the word imp, it reminds me of World of Warcraft. If you're a warlock, you have a little demon thing next to you. It's called an imp, and it helps you out.
That's funny.
So we are so important. And I found out. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
Go for that. So I was thinking about they always like humans we're so powerful, we're so important. Like there's so many, other, I call them aliens, other species, whatever, that are like they're so interested in us and like jealous of us. Apparently, I don't know if jealous is the right word. Because of what we can do. Yeah, I've had them. But so I was thinking, so if humans, let me see what I wrote down because I know what I'm trying to say, but let me see. So thoughts and emotions influence, shape. They shape. I forgot the word they. So shape, change, and bend reality. We are co-creators, and I can really read this, and so powerful. So some ETs, they don't have any emotion, and so they can't control reality anymore because our emotions are what's most powerful.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it makes sense that, well, first of all, that the powers that be want to take our powers away because no one's more powerful than the other. But if they tell us we don't have any power, but they have their power, then technically they're more powerful. Mm-hmm. But the ETs, if our emotions are the main thing, the most powerful thing that can connect us, that's why it says when we manifest, you need to feel it with emotion for it to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These ETs don't have some of them. I'm talking about the Greys. I don't know about the other ones. If they don't have emotions, they can't do any of this. And how shitty would that be if so when I think of my life, like a past life, for some reason, I always picture it's this little community with these huts that got dirt floors, I've gotten information passed down from generations of women, like grandma to mom to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because then also yesterday it said something about, so and mom mentioned this recently in a different way, but basically, so when the fetus is in the woman's body, they're both, her blood is in the baby's blood is in her. And so it says, no wonder why when, let's say 23 years later, your kid gets hit by an IUD, that you feel it.
Yes.
Cold, you know?
Yes.
I just got goosebumps from that. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
So interesting.
I don't know my point.
Well, just the fact we're all
but
connected.
Some ET, we're so important. This was it. But almost, so the one I watched on YouTube is by the same guy. I subscribed to him, I forgot his name, but he says, so now you have this information. So here's the information, you have it. It says, what are you going to do with it? You can either forget it, whatever, or you can like apply yourself and learn how to like do this basically, and it's like, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
And I thought that was really interesting because someone talking about like the movie The Matrix. Everyone would talk about it. I really like it. I never seen it. So then years later, a couple of years ago, like literally over the last couple of years, I actually watched them. It's a pretty good movie, whatever, but I don't like making like Matrix references for some reason. I guess it's probably my ego or something. But what they say, like, you either do nothing, and live in the world you're living in, or, go after this stuff, and change your world, change your reality. It's like take the blue pill and don't do anything, or take the red pill and step into this new world where you're awake.
Exactly.
And it's just we already know that everything is
so trippy.
When eloquent comes up, that's not the word I'm looking for, but it's just
yes.
The universe is so crazy.
It's magical.
It is. And it's weird because everything keeps saying you have, like, if you look at this notebook, it has the word practice in here a million times. It says practice every day, make sure you practice every day. I can see why, because like if I don't meditate or watch Gaia or really focus on these things every day, first of all, you get caught up in the petty shit that doesn't really fucking matter. And one guy said, take like a global view, like take your perspective up, you know what I mean? And look down and you'll notice these things don't fucking matter, which I have, been kind of that those thoughts and actions for a while. But when you don't get into this stuff, then you really just do get sucked into the everyday life that, not saying that doesn't matter, but just the bullshit every day.
Yeah.
And that shit is fucking depressing.
It is.
And I kept thinking about the thought when I was like, I wrote down, I think I maybe told you, it's my happiness. You can't affect my happiness. It's mine.
Exactly.
And I don't know, talk about that.
No, I like that though.
Okay. Well, yeah, but it's mine. You can't fuck with it because it's mine. Like I can fuck with it. It's mine. You know what I mean?
It's mine.
But it's mine. So the people are like, oh, you ruined my happiness. I ruined your happiness. That's just yours. I can't touch it.
Right. I can't touch it.
But I've just been thinking about that a lot lately, and yeah.
I
For
love
the rest
that.
of it, that's basically it.
No, that reminds me exactly of like one of the most profound things I've heard about, like the concentration camps. It was this guy who like lost everything, the whole family died, and like he sat there, he's like, after we were stripped bare of everything we had, our hair, our clothes, everything, he said the one thing they could never take from me was my mindset and who I am, and this being, like this soul, they can't touch that.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's good that he was able to say something like that. It's interesting too, because I've always been really, really interested in the Holocaust. Like as a younger kid, maybe it's something that's so crazy that like, how did that even happen? And they're still doing stuff like that today that isn't really being talked about. But
exactly.
It's interesting to bring up the Holocaust. That's something that's always
Yeah, I have too. We probably have some lineage dealing with that Holocaust.
I think we do. Honestly, I think we do.
I'm
for sure. I just got, Jesus.
Yeah, ask Mom
When I
about
say like that, it's because I think it's.
I know, right?
I haven't gotten them in forever. Like I really don't get them much. I get them when I talk to you.
Yeah,
I need to get a bunch of notebooks.
Right, it only happens during the truth.
One of them is journaling. I said you're really taking stock of like your energies. When different things happen. So if something gives you energy, like you would journal that down. Something that's taking your energy, you would journal that down.
That's smart. What's
the
taking
more
my
you pay
energy?
attention to your own energies, the better, I think, the stronger you the more in tune you are with it.
I love that.
I can send you these videos. I sent you, there was like almost all his videos are an hour. So I did the hour one, or a couple other hour ones It says like guide to bending reality, no BS.
Oh, I like that.
But then there was like a 33-minute or something one, so I watched that one. Then I seen a 23-minute one. I was like, maybe that one's like a little more condensed. But they're all the same but different, but step by step, exactly what to do. Like exactly what to do to become a mystic. Exactly.
That is
like do this every day. Do this every day. Practice doing this. Do this. Pay attention to this.
Oh my God, it's the same.
And how to do it. It wasn't just what to do; it was how to do it. So I want to get like the same notebook. I really like this notebook. It's hardcover and small. But make it into like a how-to step-by-step guide. So let's say like every day I'm supposed to do like let's say 30 things every day. You know, like in a week or two, maybe I'll have the first 5 or 6 memorized. Exactly. And I can skip through or, you know, like stuff like that.
Seriously, you don't change the outside world by trying to find things on the outside. You change it by changing yourself.
Exactly. And that's part of meditation. Like that's like a huge goal of it. That's one of the things they said is something about you don't teach people peace or make them be peaceful by telling them to be peaceful, you know?
Exactly. That's just wild. Yeah, you just become it, and that energy speaks so much louder than these words do.
Mm-hmm.
See, you're right on track with all that because I think we're meant to see the meditations and do what we're doing because like they find us. It's not that we're out searching. Yes, we want to find good meditations, this and this, but like the specificities and like what exactly comes to you is exact divine for what you need to hear with what you're ready for, which you can kind of translate in your own mind. So I did this meditation. Let me see. It started like the second week of March, and it was every Sunday a meditation. It was a live like channel thing, and. Okay. And I missed the first 2 lives because I just wasn't around, but I watched them like within, you know, a couple days after, and they were still super, super profound because time doesn't exist in the spirit world, right? So even though I missed the live, whatever. Well, anyways, I had super profound awakenings during that, and I started journaling and stuff, and literally kind of like you said, oh, well, it's step by step, and it's been showing how to actually do it. Literally the exact blueprint she gives to go from like 0 to 6 figures in 6 months is exactly what I had been starting to do without just by like gathering things from different places. It's connecting the dots and it's all the same thing.
We are going through the same thing because I'm not doing it for money. Doing it for I was called system spoon bending. Spoon bending. I'm gonna do we're on to a spoon, I'm doing fork. Do a fork bending.
Right.
But no, the same thing. It's like I'm getting all these little trickles and pieces everywhere, and it's learning how to connect them. You know, and just the word coherence. It keeps coming up for me. Ooh, I just even I'm. Freaking goosebumps are crazy.
I love that. On my nipple too. I feel it. The energy's working through us.
Goosebump nipples.
What'd you say?
I said, you feel my goosebump nipples.
That's funny. Oh my gosh, I love it. Let me see.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, so I usually don't really get them. And I'm actually like kind of hot right now, so it's not that I'm cold getting them. You know, even though it's like 20 degrees outside.
No, it's amazing. It's
beautiful,
that's that energy working through us. It's insane. But I really never enjoyed journaling, and I just was called one day to, instead of waking up reading my book, it was like, no, it's time to reflect. It's time to write down everything and get it out on paper to see what's going on inside. And like and I don't ever really write anything negative. It's all because like you said, where energy goes, where attention flows, energy goes. So I said, let me focus on everything I want to create, because I'm going to live as if it's in the end already, as if I already have exactly what I need. And then it's also gratitude journaling. So Elmer, this dude I follow, he's got the community that's called The World is a Simulation.
Nice.
But his YouTube is funny, and I just resonate with him well. But he said when he was in prison for 8 years, he didn't get it. And finally in prison, he woke up, he's like, wait, he's like, I need to start journaling, and I need to start really like shifting his mindset to act as if. And so he would write down 70 things that he was grateful for in the morning and 70
Wow.
things before he went to bed. And now within 2 years of being out of prison, 2 or 3 years, he's got like multiple 6-figure businesses.
Holy shit.
And it's all just the mindset. It's whatever you want. And somebody in his community, I was listening to him yesterday, someone in his community, the doctor told him they'd never be able to walk again. And you know, she took his courses and stuff, and it's the same stuff you're learning too now. And she ended up like she's literally doing CrossFit and stuff now.
Oh wow.
So
That's
yeah,
incredible.
it's all mindset. She said that she started practicing gratitude. She started sending love
Oh
to
my
her
gosh.
body. She
I'm
started.
gonna show you my goosebumps. They almost don't hurt, but they're just so strong. They feel like
Wow.
prickled almost, and even on my legs and stuff.
I love
Because
that.
I don't know if you remember. So I remember I told you, like, it said if I didn't get like that emergency surgery the second time, like basically I was gonna die, and like I kind of just lost hope for getting better.
Yeah.
And then I stopped like watching guys, stopped meditating, all this other stuff. Like they took the pain pills away, whatever.
Yeah.
And I've kind of gotten more of like that, more like kind of a victim type kind of mentality, and in a way, and
Yeah.
I wasn't really
Yeah.
helping
That's
myself.
okay.
And then I watched something random on Gaia, and it talked about how gratitude is a field. And I remember looking at the kaleidoscope you gave me, and I'm like, that's going to be my to remind me to be every time I see it, because I have it right next to my bed, right where I sit, hanging up. I'm like,
Yay.
every time I see it, I'm going to remember gratitude and love also from you
Oh, I
for
love
gratitude. But a lot of things. So it said basically like you have to have like 3 things I think to heal, and the first one I think they mentioned is gratitude. And then a lot of things that I read or listened to in Guy yesterday all talked about gratitude.
I
And
love that.
It's just so important. And actually, before you even said that, it's funny because I was trying to look up. You said you reflecting in the morning, because there is no right or wrong way. But let me see if I can see it real quick. It said. So it's telling you how to structure your day. The video I watched, I said no right or wrong way, but I just thought it was a good idea. But you start, where is it? And I wrote at the bottom. Okay, this is why I need colors.
Right? You just function better with colors. I love that.
It's just kind of it'll make different things stand. Because I know I wrote that in green, so I'll look for green writing or whatever it is.
I love that. That's so smart.
So one advice if I read to Tony earlier. So it's on a radical transformation, and you must shift your set point. I have what your set point. Your set point, your vibrational set point. So your life is set by your vibrational set point. So you have to set your set point. So it's in Dr. Bruce Lipton, that's the guy I was watching yesterday, talked about when your conscious mind is observing and not observing. So it's 95% of our reality is controlled by your subconscious mind. Something.